Good afternoon, John Okiyi Kalu. You're welcome to NjenjeMedia, and thanks for agreeing for this conversation this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me, Maazi Ezeoke.
Okay, thank you. Let me start this way. For those who may not know who you are, may you kindly introduce yourself for my audience?
Oh, well, like you rightly said, I am Chief John Okiyi Kalu, Wandubo Mabreba, immediate for Trade and Invent in Abia State, former Commissioner for Information in Abia State, and of course, former Special Advisor on ICT in Abia State. I served for 4 years, 4 unbroken years as Commissioner for Information in Abia State, and another 2 unbroken years as a Commissioner for Trade and Investment. But before that, I was a Special Advisor in the Okezie Ikpeazu administration from the onset, from 2015, precisely July, if I'm right, June, July 2015. So that's who I am in terms of conversation. But beyond that, I am sure that I am husband to my wife and father to my children without requiring to do any DNA test. And I'm also sure that I'm all kinds of people and persons before that because you didn't want to go into my professional career and history. And I am happy that we are not going to discuss that because this is not a job interview. I would rather confine myself to the immediate past 8 years and
Okay.
address the issues you want addressed.
Okay. Thank you very much for that brief intro. So let me start by saying, as a former commissioner for information and also trade and investment, I don't think there is no other person that is more geared into this conversation that we're going to have today. Then I'll start this way. The Geometrics power plant that is owned by Professor Bart Nadi, an IPP project that was done, I think over the last 14, 15 years that project's been. And that project was commissioned and released on Monday. I think we had the Vice President of the Federal Republic there to commission that project. Now, since the commissioning of that project, the social media has been aware as to who funded that project and where does Abia State finance come in. There's been insinuations and denials that Abia State has no hand in that project. Please, can you throw more light, at least for the past 8 years, when that project was on? My understanding is that Abia State at some point um, had some funding to do with that project, and that they also have share in that. Can you throw more light on that, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's unfortunate that we are now fully in the fake news and propaganda age in Nigeria, and that a sitting governor is sitting on top of the biggest lying machine, fake news machine in Nigeria. And because of that, we are getting all kinds of false information out there in the public space. For a government to go to the extent of going to somewhere like Computer Village in Lagos to hire skit makers to basically lie and promote not exist is scary to me. For a government not to be at peace with facts and truth is also worrisome to me as an Abian because I know for a fact that Sir M.I. Okpara did not require propagandists, skit makers, and the rest of them to show what he was doing. I also know that late Chief Sam Mbakwe did not require propagandists and skit makers to do the job of telling the whole world what he was doing. For these astute individuals, the work they did continue to speak for them even from the grave today. But what is happening in Abia astounds me because even as a government official, I believed in the Sullivan Chime School of Information Management. And I am sorry that I recommended that to Governor Ikpeazu. I feel very sad that I was among those telling Governor Ikpeazu, let's do the work of Abia first and leave publicity and propaganda till after we have done the work. I feel bad about it because it appears to me that wrong has now been elevated to right in the modern era in Nigeria. So people vilify Governor Ikpeazu, who by kilometers is the best governor ever in Abia State, and I'll prove it to you.
No, sorry, I think we'll come to probably if we have if we have enough time, we'll come to the conversation as to what's happened. But if we come back to the question I asked, how does Abia, or rather, was Abia in any way, shape, or form involved in geometrics? If they were, what is their contribution to that project?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me speak to the Ikpeazu administration's contribution, because the geometric project, contrary to what many believe, started in 2004 under the Okezie Kalu. Then Governor Okezie Kalu contributed on own side in terms of giving the necessary documentations, including waivers. Senator T.A. Oji did a lot of work to ensure that the project comes on stream and the records are there for everyone to see. With Governor Ikpeazu, let me start by saying that it was Governor Ikpeazu himself that took Professor Njenje and Chief Pascal Dozie along with others. Chief Pascal Dozie is still alive. That's the chairman of Diamond Bank, defunct Diamond Bank. He's still alive to corroborate what I'm saying. Governor found out that the major challenge with geometrics was they had borrowed from commercial banks in Nigeria the loan that our current governor now said he was the one that arranged. But from the information available to me, the story speaks to another thing. But since he has claimed the glory that he arranged the debilitating commercial bank loan, let me allow him to run with that. They had issues of cash flow. They were being weighed down a heavy loan they took from local banks, charging them very high interest. They had no way to go. They needed money. And when they told Governor Ikpeazu that this was the problem, Governor Ikpeazu, realizing that steady power supply will seamlessly fit into his plan of industrialization and SME development in Abia State, decided to support them. First, he took Chief Pascal Dozie, Professor Njenje and others to China, where they met the chairman of one of the biggest companies in China called the Rui Group. There were discussions on investment by the Rui Group. And I recall that the chairman of indicated interest, but he was more interested in the gas aspect of the project. He wanted to invest in the gas aspect of the project. In fact, he said to them, I am ready to throw in $1.5 billion in the gas aspect of the project if you allow me to own shares in that aspect. And then also invest additional $2. Please, if you doubt me, ask Professor Njenje or Chief Pascal Dozie. But because of the structure of the agreement that Professor Njenje, now the same governor flew with them. He went to Egypt, where they met the Afrexim Bank. I recall among those sitting in that room, the most critical presentation was one made by Governor Okezie Ikpeazu. In fact, you can imagine where you are sitting in a board environment and you make a presentation and people are clapping. Ultimately, Afrexim Bank approved a facility of $50 million for geometrics. The same $50 million was signed up and consummated in South Africa. If you look at the pictures from South Africa, you will see Governor Ikpeazu smiling behind Professor Njenje as he was signing for that. Having said that, Governor Ikpeazu returns to the State Executive Council through the Ministry of Finance Investment Company That presentation was made to us by the then Commissioner for Finance. His name is Dr. Aham Uko. He's still alive. He's a Labour Party member in Abia State. If I'm lying, he will speak to that. Dr. Aham Uko made a presentation to State Executive Council requesting for Abia State to buy into Geometrics, to acquire shares in Geometrics with $5 million, representing 5% of the total assets of Geometrics at that time. The State Executive Council gave approval. And I recall that I was among those who voted. So when I heard the clip that you played before now of Professor Barton Naji saying nobody gave me anything, I was alarmed. Because as at that time, I knew that there was approval. I knew that some money was paid, but I didn't know whether they paid up to the $5 million. So I went into my archives and I found a letter written by Professor Bat to Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, where he said, "My dear Governor, thank you for all your support for this project. We have received the equivalent of 3.56 million Abia State government for the shares. Kindly help us complete it by paying the balance of $1 million, or there was in Naira 565 million Naira, if I'm correct." He stated that explicitly there. Now, if a government like Abia State government started investing to buy stocks, and we've paid 3.56 million and 5 million, and for whatever reason, maybe clearly paucity of funds, because you have seen the good faith indication that we wanted to buy the 5%, paucity of funds. There are competing needs in government. That was not paid. When I listened and heard Prof say, I did not get any dollar from anybody, I did not get any shishi, honestly, I was alarmed. And I made a post. I said to the governor of Abia State, Dr. Lesote, I said, please investigate. I believe I was in A school when this money was approved, and at least part of it paid, which is 3.56 million. Please, my governor, investigate, and if the shares are not available again,
okay, let me
collect back the 3.5 million dollars and use it to buy transformers for our people. Yeah.
Let me interject here. So, according to what you're saying now, the first person that said that no money was received was the professor himself. At what point did he make that assertion?
Thank you. You know, the commissioning was done on Monday.
On Monday, yes.
On Friday, he organized a joint press conference with
Friday meaning Friday before the commissioning, or Friday after the
Friday before the Monday. The Friday before the Monday before the commissioning. It was a pre-commissioning press conference. They brought in the media, and the journalist asked him, "Sir, did Abia State government invest any money? Does Abia State have any share in this company?" He said, of course, you can play the tape for the whole world to hear. There is no point in my saying you have the tape.
So in this case, the tape I'm going to play so that my audience would understand and have context to this. So what you were saying is that the tape that I'm going to play is the one that was
state government was expected to commit.
So this is Friday last week. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's
Friday before the commissioning.
Okay, so let's hear this.
Was expected to commit that amount, but it didn't. It couldn't deliver on the amount. So, and of course, it is really not dollars. There's no dollar. Nobody has given us any dollar. So, and it's a good thing for a state government to want to take, let's say, 5% equity position in a company of this nature. It's, after all, it's a state government, it's within the state government. But really, the PPP that Sidon was talking about is more about how a government acts to ensure there is investment in the place.
Yeah, you can. Maybe let me just.
Yeah,
It
is not the Otis government that did not pay. It's
that's not. No.
We expect the Otis government to pay.
Yes, and let me just add to what Prof said. The government is a stakeholder, so the government is a partner.
Yeah.
Any way we want to look at it, because for us, we have a social contract with our people.
Correct.
So, irrespective that we have to provide the conducive environment to encourage the private sector, we also have to have a stake in what the private sector offers, because our stake.
Well, state government was expected to.
Okay. So if we.
Let me, if you will, the contest, because the second voice you heard was commissioner in Otis administration.
Okay.
That's the third voice. The next voice was that of a journalist asking, and then it was now the commissioner in Otis government.
Okay. I think he made allusion to, a Sidon. So I don't know if it's Sidon, the former commissioner of information in Anambra State, or I don't know. But he made a reference to someone where he said,
I at the press conference, but I want to point out something that is shocking. Let me read out a portion of the letter that Professor Barton Naji sent to Ikpeazu, because if you watch that clip carefully,
before you get to that,
no, I want to. It's okay. You are there now because Prof said in that audio, nobody gave us any dollar. Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard.
That was what alarmed me. Listen carefully.
Okay.
Professor Barton Naji, on the 3rd of August 2022, addressed to His Excellency Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu, Executive Governor of Abia State. I have seen this letter circulating online. I don't know how people got it. I
have a copy of that letter too.
Yeah. So now look at this. I write to appreciate you for the support you have rendered to NjenjeMedia in ensuring that the Abia IPP project is completed. Next paragraph. We'd like to please request that you complete the journey that started so well. This is in regard to the equity contribution of Abia State for equity stake of 5% in the project. You may recall that the amount for this 5% was agreed for a price of $5 million. Abia State government obtained this stake in Naira at the rate of 95 to $1, which was CBN rate at the time. Out of the 1.975 billion naira required, Abia State government paid the sum of 1.41 billion, remaining 565 million. Here is the point I want to emphasize. Prof said nobody gave us any dollar. But you agreed in the meeting. You asked Abia State government to pay. We will pay CBN rate because we don't transact in dollar for the purposes of our own reporting. And you told them that the correct rate was 395, which they verified, and gave you money in lieu of your dollar-denominated investment of 5 million. Now you are going public. You said nobody gave us any dollar.
Yeah, but you see, that's what I wanted you to also know. In context here, he's actually right, because he didn't pay dollars. He's not saying that. I don't think the argument is nobody contributed any money, because I would have been alarmed like you if he said there was no money. But he said in dollars, and actually Abia State did not pay in dollars. Yes, that money was converted in dollars.
That's okay. That's okay. Hold it there. If you will, hold it there, because we're having a conversation.
Yes.
Please, as my brother, if you come to me, John Okiyi Kalu, and tell me that you need $1,000 to travel back to your base, and that the exchange is 500 naira per dollar, and I gave you the current exchange rate to go and buy the dollar, are you saying that I didn't give you dollar? Really? Is that your argument?
Oh, okay. Let's for the purposes of this, because I am actually undergoing such now, where it's a case of when you give someone, it's about the hard currency that the individual receives. But this is a business transaction anyway. One thing we've been able to clarify here is that Abia
It
State
is a
initially,
dollar-denominated business transaction.
yes,
A dollar-denominated business transaction. Note
okay.
that.
Yes.
And I gave you money to exchange and get the dollar, and you are saying nobody gave me dollar. I mean, anyway, continue with your question.
Anyway, okay.
Sure
So in this case now, for clarity here, Abia State was supposed to have 5%, but eventually Abia State ended up having only 3.5%. Is that correct? Equity
yes,
share, right?
according to a letter sent to Governor Alex Oti by Professor Barton Naji, dated 28 February 2024. Professor Barton Naji told him in that letter that Abia State has 3.5% equity in Aba IPP, that he sold because he didn't get the balance of 565, that he sold it to another person. So what that means is that there is confirmation in the hands of Governor Lesoti that we have 3.5% equity. Now, here is my problem with that confirmation.
Okay.
That confirmation was received by Governor Lesoti on the 28th of February 2024.
So that's basically
of February.
That's basically 3 days ago.
Hold on, hold your thoughts, please. Hold your thoughts, please. The night of 29th February 2024, the same Governor Lesoti was on Channels Television being interviewed by Shehu Okimbaloye and said, I have no document confirming any investment by Abia. You want to play that tape? I can give you the tape to play. 28th of February 2024, Barton Naji wrote Governor Alex Oti to confirm the investment that Dr. Alex Oti denied and sent
the
to people to
second letter.
deny.
How do we get the confirmation of that letter? That second was actually written.
Ask Dr. Alex Oti to give you, but his government has not denied it. They have accepted in writing. His media people, audio recording of his spokesman in a radio station in Omo here. I can forward the audio recording to you. He said that yes, they have received a letter from the man confirming the investment. The audio was recorded yesterday, the day after the interview on Thursday by the governor. I want, if you will, if you would like to know, if you like backgrounds, and the truth, I will tell you why Professor Barton Naji was dragged into it. He's a good man. I know Prof to come to Ikpeazu's house by 7 a.m. in the morning. I will see him in so that they can either travel or finalize this arrangement in terms of funding, or he's asking for the balance, as it were. But as at that time, I didn't know that that was why Prof was a frequent visitor to the governor's house. And I recall, you can ask Prof this. One day, the governor said to one of his security aides, Prof, look at this man. He is my AD. This is his phone number. AD, this is Professor Barton Naji. No matter where I am in the world, if he calls and you do not bring him to me. And if he calls and you do not answer his call, leave from that day. This man is very important to the development of state. Show this video to Professor Njenje and ask him if this happened. So you begin to wonder, why was there a deliberate attempt to minimize the contribution of Govt Ikpeazu? I've already listed here, including the $50 million facility for Maazi Bank, the direct investment of 3.56, which is investment by any government in your state, including Oti's government. Why was the deliberate attempt to minimize that contribution? The problem is in Alex Oti's head. He sees Govt Ikpeazu as a superstar. He knows in actual fact what that governor did, contrary to the propaganda he wants to churn out to the public. He knows that he can never match in real terms the records of Govt Ikpeazu. Maybe another day, I will bring out one by one. Let me also tell you one more story.
Sorry, I think that statement is a fast stretch. I mean, the governor is only 4 months in office. 9 months in office. I don't think it will be fair to compare someone who is only 9 months in office to an ex that has already done 8 years. So each to their own. Everyone have their own strengths.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. You can make that stretch. You can make that. I watched the two governors celebrate their first 100 days. I tell you what Ikpeazu did in his first 100 days, and tell you what Oti did in his first 100 days. I can also confidently
tell you. Okay. Then
can you hold? Can you hold?
Yes, I will. I will. But hold on.
The road projects, that it is Ikpeazu that funded those road projects.
Don't worry. I will get to that now.
Ikpeazu funded them.
I would get that. But let me structure this way. We have now cleared that Abia State has an equity contribution of 3.5 million to Geometrics, right? And we can also confirm that Geometrics has started working. Though I tell people we will use Abia State to know how diligently people can pay their NEPA bills, because the success of that entity depends on people paying their electricity bill. But now let's come down to Abia State. Beyond
I have not confirmed what you stated, please. So that tomorrow that John Okiyi Kalu confirmed that Geometrics has started working. I didn't confirm that.
But I'm telling you from clear. Okay, now it's Maazi Tochukwu saying that Geometrics has started working because it's been commissioned. I do not know why people will go and you know, going by the nomenclature that when you commission project.
I will also tell you that in March 2015, President Goodluck Jonathan was at Geometrics and later at Logi Power Plant. Things were commissioned. But what I know at this time is that maybe, like I've said to some people in private, maybe if not for political pressure, Prof would have delayed the commissioning by 1 month so that he can finish the testing he needed to do, since he had everything. As of today, it is the same power delivery we had in Aba that we are still having. But really? I am confident.
But we have videos. We have videos of people celebrating that they have 24 hours light now in Aba. It's just also. Is that
my dear? My dear, you have a government that is funding fake news and propaganda. Go and Matrix itself. Professor Njenje requested that people should be patient for at least 3 weeks. Governor Alex Otti at China Television requested that what has been done, that they have 24 hours. Punch newspaper fell in that trap and carried that Aba has experienced 48 hours. I am telling you the truth. Aba is my city. I was born there. I schooled in Eziama High School. I am happy to have power in Aba. I believe it will ultimately work. What I'm saying is this. Maybe Prof, who is not political, who has patiently followed this project for 20 years, could have waited to finish all the testing because the transmission lines are already there. He was already using lines to sell power since EDC left. He inherited EDC facilities. He had the distribution facilities he inherited from EDC. So it is not a matter of getting back a fresh distribution and transmission system. All he needed was to fix the generation aspect of it. And if he has completed that, I would have preferred a situation where he waited to complete his testing of the gas turbines, the three of them, and once he's satisfied that they're okay, you can then commission. So that there won't be any need for a government to deliberately set him up again. It is a setup because if after the testing he decides to take additional time to fix things, people will now say, look at the IPP project in Igbo land could not even work. It didn't even work. Meanwhile, they use it to do us wayo at Twitter. I don't want that to happen to a group. If you don't understand that, then you think that I am against anybody.
Okay, I understand your argument, but if I stretch that argument further, I would say if you know, no one, not even the government, would want to rush into helping someone to commission something that would eventually probably not work within a month. But the thing here is, you know, in Nigeria here, we've been a people, we've seen in the previous government of Buhari where projects were commissioned, like the second Niger bridge that was never finished. I mean, the roads leading to the bridge was never finished, but it was, you know, it was commissioned. We've seen refineries commissioned and they don't work. So it's, but here, let's just, you know, as Christians, let's say we pray that things work out. So let me draw your attention to some. Let me draw your attention.
I want to. Can I comment on something very important you said? You said, and I like it. You are a decent man. You said no government will like to, but you are dealing with a government. Bear somebody to lie that he didn't receive money, and you are dealing with a governor who, while having a letter in his hand,
well, I you know, without you know, I may reach out to them for us to have further conversations on this, but I wouldn't you know, take it that Prof was compelled, because I do not know the details. My job here is, when I heard the whole thing, was basically to look at how do I fish out the truth, and hence I reached out to you to have this conversation. And beyond this conversation now, I like the confirmation made as to the equity share in geometrics. And you've confirmed that also the letter that eventually would have on screen would also confirm that. Now, but there is something else in your write-up that you put up on Facebook that I found slightly astonishing. And I said, I want you to also clarify that. In one of your posts, you know, on Facebook, you opened that the road being done in Aba or the roads being done in Aba were funded by efforts of
in Abia.
In Abia, not Aba alone, in Abia, right? Okay. That those were funded by the efforts of your principal, former governor. But can you throw more light on this? And while you're at it, how come that people, I mean, even Aba residents are saying that they now see something different, whereas in the 8 years that you and your principal governed Abia State, the people of Aba and the people of Abia haven't really, because myself, I partly grew up in Umahia, right? And when you know, just in this January, when I visited Umahia from Isi Gate, no, from Tower to into the town, you can see that road is now being dualized. recall that there was a time during Okezie Kalu in his second term when even that road, he tried inserting a toll gate there, and there were a couple of accidents, and eventually that toll gate was knocked down. So, people will say these things that is happening in Abia State now is visible, but what you are saying is that it's not the way that most of the funds were kind of pulled by the previous administration. Can you throw more light to this, please?
Yeah, Maazi Ezeoke, I hope you will give me a little time without interjecting. Let me start from the.
I'll give you all the time you need.
You talked about Omoya. Let me start from the road you alluded to. That road is called Mission Hill.
Yes.
It was the administration of Ochendo that actually dualized that road. That road was a 4-lane road that was completely motorable by the time Govt Oti came in. What Govt Oti did was to add half a lane on the right, half a lane on the left. And now you, as educated and knowledgeable as you are, now believe that it was Oti that dualized it. Why won't come be deceived if you can be deceived? Now that road cost Abia State a minimum of 8 billion naira, and the total length of that road is less than 3 kilometers. 8 billion naira. Now you said you saw it. Did you also see Aba Road all the way from what do you call it, ShopRite, all the way to that road was done by Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu with 980 million naira, not up to 1 billion. Dualized it, made it 4-lane, put traffic street lights along that road. Please tell me that Ikpeazu's road was done by Arab contractors. The Oti road was done by Wigwe-owned Cranenburg. Cranenburg is owned by late Wigwe.
I know.
So rest in peace.
Amen.
Now, the one Ikpeazu did was done by Arab contractors with 980 million naira. The one Oti did, remember, Ikpeazu's own was 4 lanes.
And how many
kilometers? 2
kilometers?
on one side, 2 on the other.
And how many kilometers?
Oti now did 2 lanes only. Hold on. Oti did 2 lanes only along Mission Hill, and his own was 8 billion naira. Ikpeazu's own was 980. But because you didn't know this, you were misled. How much more those in Aba? Let me tell you, if you go to Aba today, you will see where they are publishing Cemetery Road. Don't you mention Cemetery Road at channel? So let me take off Cemetery Road. Cemetery Road in Aba is a very long road. The total distance of Cemetery Road will be close to 5 to 6 kilometers. Ikpeazu started work on about 200 meters stretch of Cemetery Road from into the market. Cemetery Road goes beyond the market. It crosses the rail line and enters Ososo side. Now, you did started work on about 200 meters. Oti completed the 200 meters and went to Twitter and went to channels to say he has done Cemetery Road. Meanwhile, the same Cemetery Road, Abuts Ezeku Road, from Cemetery Road to Ezeku Road is about 3 kilometers, done by Governor Okezie Ikpeazu. Ezeku to Cemetery, it passed through Okigwe Road, it passed Zikwe Road, yet you think that it was Oti that did it. You did not know that it is actually a project of Ikpeazu. Just like you probably imagine that it is Oti that is doing Azikwe Road, whereas Azikwe Road was completed by Ikpeazu. What I do in regards to your initial point, before I now go down to explain myself, is that there is high level of propaganda. People are being paid to lie. People are being deceived deliberately. And it will take people
the
like
deception,
me that know.
I mean,
I am
okay,
saying to journalists like you.
does the deception
Anytime
apply
you
to people who live in a place? I mean, if I live here, I know when it is complete.
How do you know who lives in a place? When you are watching somebody, you are seeing somebody on Twitter saying, I live in Ehere Road. How do you know that that person actually lives there? When you watch Nollywood movies and people say they are in Abuja or Lagos or Aba, does that mean they are actually there? How do you know who lives in a place? If you can answer that question, I am now telling you that I, living in Aba, can tell you did what. When you enter Aba and from the flyover, you are heading to town. You see Abowere Road, beautiful. It is Ikpeazu. When you enter Fox Road, Brass Junction, all the way to the market, it is Ikpeazu. When you enter Okiwe Road and you see a good road, it is Ikpeazu. When you enter Osusu, you see a good road, it is Ikpeazu. When you enter Ngwa Road and you see a good road, it is Ikpeazu. When you enter Ukebu Road, you see a good road, it is Ikpeazu. Or if you enter Omola Road, it is Ikpeazu. If you enter
Okay, what of Port Harcourt
Ehere Road? Thank you. It is one of those projects that I will explain to you.
Okay.
You ask, don't lose that question. You ask, what do I saying that it is Ikpeazu that is funding the projects? And I'm going to answer you. The exit of Ikpeazu, when he realized that Abia forces to fund the number of roads he wanted to do in Abia. Ikpeazu is a very passionate man. One of the things people have against him is they say too many projects. As at the time he left office, he had completed 168 roads. In 2009, he opened his mouth and said only 62 of the completed roads. What he said it, I have to give you. But I'm telling you that as at the time Ikpeazu left office, he completed 168 roads in Abia. But he wanted to do more. Ikpeazu saw that the possibility to do what he wanted to do in Abia. He decided to look for multilateral agencies that can lend money. In the course of jumped out, there was an application by the regime. That time it was called Rural Access Mobility Project, Rural Access Agriculture Marketing Project. Ikpeazu took up that project, paid over 500 million naira funds so that Abia can access funds and do 500 kilometers of rural roads. The same thing he did, he sought a loan of about $200 million, listed the roads. Among the roads listed was Port Harcourt Road in Aba. I'll explain to you what happened in Port Harcourt Road, that you will never hear from anybody that is alive except Ikpeazu, and maybe if the former commissioner for works wants to tell you the truth of what happened. That $1 million from is now being assessed by Dr. Alex. Ikpeazu handed it over to him. It is him that is now listing it, and he's doing something very terrible that you need to highlight and let people look into it. You will have a certain road called Abriba Junction to Itboro Road. That road was, but because the ramp delayed in coming, Ikpeazu fixed that road, that 9 kilometers of road from Abriba Junction to Tichamankporo. Ikpeazu fixed and commissioned it. Now, Oti has added the same road into the budget. I know how that came about because he copied out all the roads in the ramp listed in the document and gave to the House of Assembly to approve in a budget. Whereas some of the roads in ramp, because the ramp delayed in coming, we use state money to fix them. I'm giving you one key example to note. The money he's spending, ask him. I said, because the ramp comes in tranches, the initial $1.5 million has come in. All the roads he listed were part of all the rural roads, including the one from Umuahia that he has broken up all the way to Ohafia. that they were listed in that document, which I can give you and publish for the whole world to see. That is how Ikpeazu is paying for rural roads. The African Development Bank loan, we could have gotten that loan more than 4 years ago. Alex Yomoti wrote a petition, series of petitions, frustrated the development of that facility to Governor Ikpeazu. And as a government, we fought back to make sure we bring it back on stream. Sometime in 2022, we received reports that everything has now been finalized. And among the roads listed was Port Harcourt Road in Aba, which was measured by the international consultant that African Development Bank brought, who measured the road to be 5.7 kilometers, which is why I'm saying that Julius Berger will have questions to answer in due course, because I will instigate an. Now,
so the
hold on.
The Aba road is
5.7 kilometers. OT recorded it as, I want to know what happened to the extra 1 kilometer added. Where is it? But you mentioned Port Harcourt Road. On the expectation of that money, Ikpeazu stopped the work that was going on in Port Harcourt Road because African Development Bank will not refund you for a project you have already done that is in their list. So Ikpeazu stopped it and said, let them bring this money, we use it and complete Port Harcourt Road and go. OT started frustrating and writing petition. In 2023, OT granted, before the election, OT granted an interview his house in Mvosi to journalists. Google it. Why I stopped the AFDB loan. Google it. In that interview assembly for the facility, my brother, there was approval. In fact, there is no way the National Assembly and the Federal Ministry of Finance could have approved without approval from the State House of Assembly. I proved immediately to him that there was approval. Now, the same loan of 200 million, OT is now in possession of million. Recall that OT went to the federal government and asked them to approve for the deployment of this fund, while announcing the $115 million. Wale June, the federal said, we are not borrowing anew. This is an old borrowing by the previous administration.
Okay.
It was
so
already approved by the previous administration.
For context.
So for context.
Yeah, no, hold on. For context and understanding here, the road, the Port Harcourt Road is 5.7 kilometers and $200 million. Is that correct?
No, I don't think you are listening to me. No.
Okay.
I didn't say so. I didn't say so. I am talking about the African Development Bank loan portfolio with many roads, including Port Harcourt Road.
Okay, including. Okay, that's fine.
Now, to verify what I have said to you, I have requested somebody that is where my documents are to go and get me a certain document that will extract the portion of the listed roads in the African Development Bank project. You will see Port Harcourt Road in Aba. And I'm saying to you that it is that loan that OT tried to stop that was meant for the funding of Port Harcourt Road. Now, people now say Ikpeazu abandoned Port Harcourt Road. And I'm telling you that Ikpeazu never abandoned Port Harcourt Road. In fact, he spent at least 2 months constructed gutter from the beginning in Ngwa Road all the way to the end, which the government of OT saw. And yet, the propaganda, if I am lying against them, let them disgrace me by simply bringing out the award documents related to African Development Bank loan, which they are now assessing. Before we left government, we were to flag off 2 projects. One was the Rural Access Agricultural and Marketing Project. Ikpeazu fixed a flag off for 26th of May so that he can start one. We discussed and said to him, you have a successor. Let your successor take it from there. History will remember that it was you that put in this effort and did the work you did. Oti, we didn't know, was going to be dangerously rancorous as a successor. He will never mention Ikpeazu by name. Go and watch that interview on channels. Go and watch his video during the commissioning of geometry. You can see the anger whenever, in fact, when Shehu asked him, did your predecessor contribute anything? You can see the anger. I don't know whether Ikpeazu slept with his wife or something. I'm surprised because both of them go to the same church, Seventh-day Adventists. I'm surprised what is happening, sincerely speaking. And I've been appealing to both of them, stop this thing. So when I made that post, I am confirming to you now that the roads listed by OT in his 2024 budget, that they have already been paid for by Ikpeazu.
So if that is the case, why are you not writing? Why are you not writing petition to the State Assembly and I don't know to the authorities to highlight this? If you know this,
my brother, my brother, since I was born up to this age, I have never written petition in my life. I have never gone to a courtroom in my life. I hate petition writing. What I will do is to make another post, put the relevant documents together, and expect that the House of Assembly will look at it. For instance, the House needs to extract out roads like that Abreba Junction, Mboro Road, and use the money and do another road for our people. Instead of somebody now eating the money. That is all I'm saying. The same way I was saying, collect the other money, OT, collect it and use it. Let me show you. This is an extract from Abia budget 2024 budget. If you look at what I'm showing you, you will see the red dot. That red dot is Abreba Etitiama Mboro Road, 9 kilometers. That road has already been done. There is another road in Obingwa. It has already been done. There are others done halfway. Remove them from the budget and replace them with new projects. Ikpeazu is the one who did this. Tell the world the truth. There is no shame in saying that I inherited so and so. Now, when I heard him on channels, he said he inherited debt of 192 billion. Yet, he didn't give you facts behind figures. What he did was to accumulate all the debt owed by governments since the creation of Abia State till 2023 when Ikpeazu left, and now created the impression that it was Ikpeazu that owed all of them. That was what he was trying to pass off to the world. Is it right, Ezeoke? Is it right? Doesn't it worry you? All the debt from the creation of Abia State in 1991 to 2023, and you went on Channel TV and said that Ikpeazu left a debt of 192 billion. Come on, is it fair?
I think
why is he doing that?
I think
you are an obedient like me. You are an obedient like me, and all of us like P2B because he's our brother, because Peter was frugal as a governor. We know P2B. So we are transferring, unfortunately, some of you are transferring that love to Sonny. And you are now culpable. You are now part of a massive fake news machine that I am now opening your eyes to see. That African Development Bank asked Otis government that a certain John Okiyi Kalu said they have now inherited the $112 million that has Ikpeazu's signature, which Oti tried to frustrate as governor, and that it is what they are using to do roads. And that I also said that Port Harcourt Road Aba was included in that bucket of $112 million. And that I also said that the rural roads Oti is flagging off, that they are all included in the $50 million ramp that Ikpeazu signed off on and handed over to him. If I to that, then shame me as a human being, bring me back and say, this is the document I saw with Alex Otis government. This is the document they published. What you said is not true. But if what I have said is true, Maazi, do not support evil for partisan reason. That's all.
Thank you very much. We will be I mean, it's close to an hour now. I didn't envisage that this conversation would last this long, but it's very interesting conversation, I must note. Now, I will close on this note. During the time of Ochendo, we had and we read stories that Abia State has acquired land and cleared the land for airports. May I ask? That was the tail end of Ochendo's administration. May I ask, where is the Abia Airport?
Very good question. When we came on board, we tried to project. Our focus was to bring in private funds into it, knowing that our state didn't have the money. And finally, we needed to make some investment regarding that project by way of a PPP with an investor. When we found about 10 billion naira that we could use as a government, we announced it that we are going to invest that 10 billion in the airport. If you need me to tell you the location where it is or where it's supposed to take off, I'll tell you. Now, when we made that announcement, the chairman of Traditional Rulers Council in Abia State then, the Ezamara, and his executives came to the governor, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu, at Omohia Lodge. I was present, and they said, Excellency, we heard you want to spend this money on airports. Please, we have airports around us. We have Owerri Airport, we have Uyo Airport, we have Enugu, we have Port Harcourt. Airport is not an urgent issue for us as a people. As traditional rulers who should advise, we are saying that you invest that money on road construction, do more roads. And after that meeting, Ikpeazu announced that he has listened to them and that their presentation makes sense, and that he will now leave it for the next administration to determine whether there is enough resources to further the airport project. Yes, it was cleared as at that time that Ochendo said it was cleared. Yes, we inherited the project, just like we inherited many other projects from Ochendo and we completed them. But this one, I have just told you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Ezamara, Eze Nwabeke, Joseph Nwabeke of Nteha is still alive. If I have lied, ask him. Now, I am also aware that Governor Lesoti, when asked about airport project, said that it is not a priority for Abians, and I agree with him.
Okay. At least we'll have a 1 point of agreement, all of us. It's not a priority project. If we had the roads, if the roads are done properly, you know, it shouldn't be a skyrocket science to go from either Uyo, Enugu, Imo, and Port Harcourt to any part of Abia, actually. So on this note, I would say thank you very much for being my guest today. It's been an enlightening session with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And please, I have many points of agreement with him. There are things he has done in the civil service that I like. But the point of disagreements are clear, and I highlight them without insulting him. I will continue to highlight them. I hate rancor. I'm not divisiveness, rancor, and deceit. I hate deceit, lies. I don't like it. I have served in government, and I've made myself available to be probed by his administration. And they have been doing that. If they find any property belonging to government in my possession, they should come and collect it back. That was why I did not oppose them when they targeted the Ikpeazu administration for probe, instead of probing from 1999 to date. I said, okay, it concerned those who steal something. The official cars they gave me, as at that time, I have official letters that gave the vehicles to me after 4 years. And I've been the one servicing, so there's nothing to be afraid of. If I have a single computer belonging to government, please come and collect it back. It belongs to the people of Abia State. That is also why I did not say Oti did anything initially. I said, Governor, this man, what he said is not true about geometry. Go and collect $3.56 million from him and spend it as our governor. Yet they are angry that I revealed it. Why are they angry? Could it be that somebody was planning to misappropriate the money? Ezeoke, ask them that question and get back to the people of the world.
Thank you very much. That's a very fine place to end this conversation. Indeed, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank